some time to get in here. So as you're coming in, and the invitation is to get settled, right? Find a nice, comfortable space to be in, letting go of distractions. This time together, I'm looking around 30 or so minutes, some time in workshop and conversation. If you've been with me for the last week, you've been with me as we've been focused on the new year and starting to settle into it. I've been talking a lot about how, the new year is this time where it's like January 1st, this is where we're drawing a line and bringing in, that idealized behavior that we're promising ourselves that we're going to follow along to this year. And I don't really work that way so much anymore. I am more entering into the new year, being with the energy of it, right? I get excited by the new year and the new energy, but also not putting any absurd expectations on myself, not entering into this space as if it's a battleground that I'm now going to fight myself to get myself to do these things that I've told myself that I would be doing. So that's where we've been, and that's where we're going to continue to go here, is really being in this space that is holding space for what we want to do and how we want to feel this upcoming year and in the time ahead of that. But can we do it from this grounded space, right? And with that, a lot of what we're focused on doing is releasing, right? Releasing all that extra, right? All that excess stuff, all the excess expectations, and all those ideas of things that we could be doing, but maybe aren't ready to be doing. Coming from a space that is releasing all of that so that we can create space to more fully step into the things that we're actually ready to bring into our lives. So that's what we're going to do. And I invite you here to follow along this practice with me. If you're not in a space to do it right now, it's here. There will be a recording. You can do it later. But for starters here, beginning simply by feeling your feet on the floor, or perhaps your sits bones on your chair, right? Whatever bit of grounding, right? Your feet, whatever is really connecting you to the earth. Spending a few moments here, just really fully feeling into that, okay? Maybe pressing your feet a little bit more firmly into the ground. I'm just going to give you a minute here to just feel into that. And then adding on to that, bringing in the breath, okay? Bringing in your breath. And the invitation here is to connect with your breath in the way that's most easy or most approachable to you, right? So that maybe as the air comes in through your nose and exits out through your mouth. For me, I love to find it in the expansion of my rib cage and followed by the release of my rib cage on the exhale. So again, the invitation here, wherever is most accessible to you right now, okay? Finding your breath and taking a few moments here to be with your breath, okay? No need to manipulate it, no need to make any changes. we're standing here in witness to the breath, right? Being with the breath. So I'll give you a few moments here. And one final step. Can we continue here holding the space, being with your breath, and now connecting back in with that grounding in your feet, in your sits bones, right? And can we be in this sort of dual space that you may find isn't actually so, dual at all? Like, can you be here in your body, in your breath, grounding down? And I'll let you be in this space here again just for a few moments. So we're not going to spend too much time here today. But beginning with this simple practice here to really ground us in this space, in our own beings here. And then the question, that arises is, now that we've released the stress, released the overwhelm, released whatever sort of excess, not useful stuff is sort of hanging on us, right? What do we do with this space, right? And I see we have some people coming in now. So just know, if you're entering in now, all we've done is a very simple grounding practice, okay? Just getting grounded in our bodies. And now we're going to start talking a little bit, okay? We'll weave back to a little bit more practice later on. So here we've grounded into our bodies, into our breath, and we've created space. And again, the question is, what do we do, right? Now that we have this space, the question is, what do we want to fill it with? Okay. And the question, where that leads me is, what do you want to fill it with, right? You've given yourself this gift that is space to now make choices, right? More intentional, more embodied choices. And here, if you're into this theme, right, we're at the start of the new year, and the question is like, what do we want, right? What do you want to fill that space with? Now, there's two things that I'm really interested in. One is really gets to the bigger lifestyle choices, right? Do we want to be spending our time, going to the gym or running or playing with kids or our pets? Or, what is it that lights you up, right? What is it that brings fulfillment into your life? And maybe we can get into a practice that's, this very simple practice that I just guided you through, that was, grounding into your body, finding your breath, connecting in here at this moment in time, and from there asking, like, what right here, right now, do I want to cultivate into my life? And we end up with this, what's the word? Sort of dichotomy between, what's right for me right now and what's right for me in the future, right? And to me, there's this balance that we live in life between the present moment and, what's filling me up right now. And to me, that's the truest space we can be in. And at the same time, we also live in a world where setting goals and making plans is valuable. So as we sit here and create this space, that's what I'm holding, right? Is looking out into the year. What do I want to bring into my life? What do I want to be capable of doing when the weather warms up? And I'm more free to go spend time doing things outdoors, right? That's what's applicable to me, maybe not so much to you. And at the same time, I'm feeling into the moment right here, right now, okay? So there's this lifestyle piece, and the other thread that we're holding space for here is the health piece, right? And if you know me, if you've been with me a while, you know that, years ago, I was fully focused on that health piece as, this is the thing. This is where all my attention goes, is as being as optimally healthy as I can be. And there's a value to that. And there's a way that that sort of lifestyle calls to people. And if that's you, I have complete respect for that. But personally, it's not where I'm at these days. Where I'm at these days is more about this bigger picture, this what really lights me up. And again, maybe going, right? Maybe optimizing some part of your health, like your physical fitness or your mental clarity or your energy, right? Maybe that is the thing that lights you up. So maybe as we're sitting in this space thinking about what you want to do, maybe joining a gym and going 5 times a week, right? Being consistent and bulking up, right? Like maybe that's the thing that is speaking fully to you. Or maybe you're like me and what lights you up has some health benefits to it, right? If you know me, I'm all about being outside, like rock climbing, running, and there's certainly healthy aspects to it. But also, if you know me, you know that I push it, right? I push it further than is actually healthy. And in this space, what we're getting at is it's like, how can we do the thing that lights us up? Because that's what's going to motivate us in life, right? That's what's going to really add value to our lives. So, whatever it is, again, is it playing with your kids, your dogs, running, going to the gym, right? Whatever it is, can we get in the practice that is cultivating more space for this, really feeling into this, doing this thing, and from there, learning to support ourselves with those more nourishing and just otherwise supportive, behaviors that we would traditionally think of as healthy. So do we see this play here, right? Again, for me, it's no longer about health optimization and how can we put so much attention on being healthy that, maybe we're not giving ourselves enough space for the other things that we want in life. So I'm here talking, and I hope it's serving you in some way. Right now, I invite you to return, to your own space. Maybe again, connecting with your feet on the ground, connecting with your breath, returning to you and your experience here, and feeling into this, like feeling into how this is resting in your being, right? Are you being hit with any ideas, any feelings, any, exciting ideas, feelings, maybe any stressors, right? Maybe the thing that you want to do excites you and scares you a little bit because it's a lot and you don't know how you're going to do it, right? And I wanted to talk a little bit more to that. And to do it, I wanted to talk about this idea that I just love. It really comes from my engineering brain, but to me, it has such a practical implication in our world. Is this idea that is stress balance, right? And it's this idea that, as we're all familiar, stress, when it's too much, is harmful, right? We perceive it, we feel it as harmful and unpleasant, and it has, physical implications for the health of our body, right? It's a given, and we don't have to go too far into it, that stress, when it's too much, is harmful. But there's this other side to it too, that is when we want to make changes in our lives, right? So as we're sitting here thinking about, like, what do we want to cultivate in our lives, right? Maybe you want to get more into hiking or skiing or writing or art, right? And maybe you're nervous here, or maybe fully scared because the idea of taking on something here is stressful, right? It's something added into your life. And it's this space that I find the magic really unfolds in life as we learn to walk through it with intention and focus, right? As we are clear on where we want to take ourselves. And as we learn to walk through it with grace, right? Grace for when we find ourselves taking too many steps at a time and finding ourselves overstressed and maybe getting sick or getting hurt or getting anxious. Again, to me, it's this art and skill almost that is walking through life, right? Our focus, our attention on, like, what do we want to bring into our lives? And how do we take action in a way in which we're able to step into that space, right? We're able to actually, manifest that lifestyle that we want. But as we know, it doesn't work out perfectly, right? We're going to push too hard sometimes and we're going to get sick or we're going to get hurt. Or maybe we're not pushing as hard as need be and we're not actually bringing these things into our lives. And this brings us back to the importance of these embodiment practices, right? Because no matter how hard we sit here and think about this whole process, and no matter how good we are at planning, really what ends up mattering is how it is all landing in your body, right? How is each moment, each experience landing in your body, and what's its effect on you? And you may have a coach or a teacher or someone on YouTube telling you that you can do this thing, and if you do it, it will help you. And if you follow it in this specific way, you're guaranteed some results. But the truth is that we're all our own person, living our own lives with our own set of circumstances, right? So in the end, it's only you that can actually determine, like, wow, that thing that I thought was going to be easy was actually way too stressful. So I need to take a step back and relax more and release more, right? Or maybe that thing I thought was going to be really hard was actually really easy, and I'm ready for the next push, right? It always comes back to your body and your experience in all of it. And that's why I've moved away, right? Not entirely, but pretty significantly, right, from the scientific framework that has us looking at studies done on other people, right? And there's a certain value to that. Believe me, there's a tremendous value to valid scientific studies, right? That give us information that we can bring into our lives so that, we can come up with ideas for, like, what I really want to do right now is, change my diet. I really, maybe you saw a YouTube video or heard a podcast or someone recommended to you, right? Like, embracing a healthier diet in, whatever way, like maybe that's really what's speaking to you right now. And again, the science piece, like, it can help us to see what we could do to be healthier, right? But again, it always comes back, right? I feel like I'll be repeating this phrase over and over and over again for the rest of my life. It always comes back to how is it landing in your body? Because I don't care what the science says about how healthy a certain food is or how great a certain workout is. If you're bringing it into your life and it's too much, right? Then that's not actually going to be healthy. So again, this practice that is always returning to how are things landing in your own body. So again, maybe here, again, finding your feet on the floor, right? Coming back to your body, finding your breath, being in that space for a few breaths here. And now maybe simply noticing, like, what's the general flavor going on in your experience right now, right? Is there a note of stress or anxiety or a note of excitement, right? Maybe there's a million thoughts spinning through your brain, right? Like, what is flavoring your experience here in the moment? And just taking note of it, okay? I find that when I look out, to the next days and weeks and months, I'm so excited by the new trail running season. And, I'm here in January signing up for the races to come this year. And I'm so excited to be out there running, right? Like, that's where the excitement in me is going. I'm so motivated for those hard workouts. I'm so motivated for long hours on the trail. And all of that is a significant stress. I also know that there's still a little bit of this congestion from this darn cold. And so as I'm sitting here feeling into, again, this sort of two-factor thing we have going on in life, where we have our long-term goals, we have our long-term, like, what do I want to do over a certain amount of time or in a certain amount of time, right? But then always bringing it back to the present moment. Right now, it's really only in feeling into my own energy levels and, my own chest, my lungs, that I can really make decisions about what I'm ready to do today in terms of training, right? In terms of taking action towards that thing that I want to be doing. And I love this trail running example, right? Because it brings together so many pieces. And although I know most of you out there aren't crazy ultra runners like I am, to me, it's this example of this big thing that has so many different pieces to it. So, for example, going back to the health piece, right? Right now, I can't go do a hard workout, but what I can do, and this is, true, this is really what I've been doing this last week, is, improving my nutrition. For a while now, I've been, I kind of slid away from the healthier way of eating that I had been doing, right? And now I'm kind of in this middle space where I'm like, yeah, my diet's pretty healthy. And now while I've been in this space and I keep doing this practice that is like, what am I ready for, right? What's really been speaking loudly is this nutrition piece. Is this, okay, now's a really good time to get in the habit that is, buying more vegetables, cutting up more vegetables, cooking more vegetables, right? And again, starting to wrap this idea up here, when we think about healthier behaviors, right? And like, what are healthier habits we could bring into our lives, right? Because that's the theme of the new year. There's really an infinite number of ideas, right? There is an endless supply of people out on the internet telling you different things you could do to be healthier. So how do we actually bring these things into our lives? Do we do it by jumping from the advice of one expert to another, right? And that's what I see so many people doing is, oh, I heard this great idea on this video, so I'm going to start eating a bunch more kale, right? Or a bunch more turmeric. And oh, but now I heard this idea over here and this idea over here. And I see so many of us just jumping from one thing to the next because there's just so many quote unquote experts out there that have all these wonderful ideas that we could do. But how do we actually bring these things into our lives in a way that, builds in a way that actually creates, those healthier results that you want? And in a way, going back to our original theme here, that doesn't add in harmful stress, right? And again, one more time here. The way I have found to do this is by always, always, always returning to my own body, my own experience in the world, and asking, like, okay, I heard on this podcast that this would be a super healthy thing to do. Am I actually in a space to bring this into my life in a way that's going to be sustainable in a way that's actually, going to be consistent enough that it works, right? That it creates that change that we want. So, that's really what I wanted to get at today with this talk and workshop. Um, if you went through the Less Stress, Healthier workshop with me, you have more practices, right? I gave you more practices there to really get focused on, again, releasing that extra, right? When we're being bombarded with ideas for things that we could do all the time, like practices for letting go of that, right? Letting go of that, then doing what we did today, which is returning, right? Returning into our own bodies, our own experience here. And we have a little time here. Maybe we focus on one of those practices again, right? Can I give you a few over in that workshop? If this is something that's really speaking to you, and always shoot me an email. We can set up a consultation and we can, bring in more ideas and more specific practices that can help you release the stress, release the anxiety, right? Get out of the overwhelm, whatever word there resonates with you. But, in the workshop, I taught one of my favorite practices because it's so simple and it actually works, right? Not 100% of the time, which is why we have other practices that we can work with. But, my favorite practice is the exhale, right? The exhale can be so powerful to help us release that extra stuff, right? Whether it's coming from out there, whether it's in our own heads and our own thoughts, right? A nice full exhale to release out of that. Sometimes adding in that fuller breath sound, right? Or if there's a noise that just can help you release, right? You can get creative here. But keeping it simple with this one practice, that nice full exhale can be so powerful to help release all that excess noise. And then the space, going back to our original practice here, grounding into your feet, taking several breaths. So that's really, that's my main invitation for you today, is to get in the habit that is this very simple practice, right? It only takes a few seconds. Feeling into your feet, feeling into your breath, maybe adding in the extra full exhale, right? Maybe taking several cycles of breath, really focused on that. And to get in the practice that is coming into your own body, coming into your own being. And from here, making those decisions about what you want to bring into your life, right? Do you really want to go join a gym and do that and go to the gym every day? Like maybe you do, and that's awesome. Like if that's what you're really feeling in this space, that's fantastic. But maybe you were all excited to go for a gym because, once again, there was all the hubbub about how important it is to join a gym. And now that you're here in this space, that's not what you're actually feeling. That's not actually what's lighting you up. So starting to come to a close here, and just sitting with this. Is this something that you could bring into your life, right? Very simple practice here. Is this something that you could get into the habit of? Creating the space for yourself to help you make those decisions. Again, thinking about those decisions both as like, what is my reality right here, right now? And, looking into the future, like, what is it that you can see yourself actually being in the habit of doing, right? Instead of jumping around from one thing to the next and never actually going anywhere or creating any of those results or manifestations in your life that you are really seeking. And to finding that, what are you truly seeking? What is out there that could truly add value to your life, right? Coming to this space, coming back to this space, right? Okay, so we have one more call tomorrow. Tomorrow, 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we're going to come back, do the same sort of thing. I have a, different topic, but it ties into the same thing here. And if you liked this, please let me know. I am very excited to launch this YouTube channel. And personally, I have found that these live ways of interacting tend to add a lot more value than me simply putting up a video. I know I'll be doing that too. But yes, again, just if you found this valuable, please let me know. The replay will be up if you ever want to return to any of this. And yes, thank you so much for joining me here. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. It helps me, it helps you so that you're notified when things are happening. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow back here at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard. And if not, then wherever we meet in the future.